Hi guys, and welcome to Achieve with Karolina Live. I'm Karolina Romaniuk, child and family sleep specialist and founder of Achieve with Karolina and co-founder of Your Child Sleep Manual coming out this summer 2017. Yay! I'm super excited. So tonight I wanted to talk about something that has been actually happening quite frequently with most of my clients. Hey Patricia, thanks for joining. So, I've been working with like a couple of families this month, and most of them actually we had to pause working together by week 2. So that really happens, that happened because they contacted me and told me that their little one was either coughing, they were sneezing, teething was kind of the culprit also because they were a little young, or they had a fever. So what do you do when that happens, right? We started sleep training first week, glorious progression that we were going through, and then bam, they get sick. What do? Do you go back to rocking? Do you go back to bed sharing? Do you go back to feeding constantly on demand? What do you do, right? And it's something that is it's an important topic. Hey Ina, thanks for joining. It's an important topic to talk about because it happens often, especially with little ones between the ages of 4 and 8 months. And if you have one that is going into daycare, because then they start bringing all these germs home, and if if they have a sibling also, the little one starts to get sick too. So what do? You finally got the courage to start sleep training. You're all for it. You got a plan. You know what you're gonna do. Maybe you want to hire a sleep specialist to help you with that too. So maybe you're looking into me or to someone else. But bottom line is you have something. You're ready to go. You're like, I'm gonna do this. Let's start. You finally get down to it. You start, and bam, they get sick. Shit happens, guys. Especially with kids. You can't, you can have a plan, but you always have to have leeway with it. So things happen. First things first, and what I want you to know is that when you are sleep training your little one and they do get sick, you need to pause. Now, before I get into that, if you have anyone right now that is going through that or is experiencing this, or have experienced this, that they started sleep training or and their little one got sick and they kind of went back to how things are and then they gave up, or their little one started teething significantly while sleep training, I want you to stop and I want you to share right below over here. Excuse my nails, I have to get a manicure. But I want you to share right below. Share this video. It's very important that we can reach as many parents as possible. There's only so much I can do, and I really love that you guys are helping everybody else within the community and other parents or friends that you know that have tried sleep training and either their child got sick, started teething, something happened, and then they stopped and kind of gave up. So this is a super important video for parents to understand. Don't give up. Your children are incredibly persistent, more persistent than you are, and your job is to really kind of create the paveway for it and make sure that, you have an awesome plan put in place, but how are we going to really get you to achieve that plan, right? When things kind of start to, you get like a little bump in the road. So let's get into this video for tonight. Now, the first things first is if your little one gets sick, right? If they have a fever, if they have start coughing, or if they start sneezing, whatever it is, first things first, you pause whatever you're doing, you go straight to the doctor, get a green light from them that, everything is okay, maybe it's nothing that serious, they don't need antibiotics, and then you can kind of just start to watch your little one. Don't force sleeping on them, meaning if you are putting a really strict schedule, they're most likely going to need more sleep when they are tired. So watching their cues are super duper important. Remember how I always talk about the difference between tired and overtired cues. Those are completely two separate topics, and you should know the difference in your child between tired versus overtired cues. So that's first thing. So once you get the green light from your pediatrician, they're nice and healthy, they're ready to go, then you can continue on sleep training. But what do you do during that time frame, right? When you are getting your baby healthy again? What do you do when you started sleep training? And what does that mean, pause, Carolina? I have no clue what that means. Does that mean that I go back to how I used to put them to sleep? Does that mean that I can start rocking them again? That I can have them sleep in my bed? What does that mean? So, if they have a fever, what I used to do with my son is, he had the foundation already set. So I knew that if he did come into our bed, or if I stayed with him, it wouldn't create any type of a dependency, and that he won't be able to fall asleep beautifully by himself afterwards. So if your little one does have the foundation, then that's okay. But if they don't, what you can do is, if they do have a fever and you feel as though they need to sleep with you in your bed so you can keep an eye on them, then that's fine. I wouldn't say for you not to do that, of course, depending on the age, making sure that it's nice and safe. If they're a toddler, then that's okay. If they're an infant, then you can keep them in the bassinet next to you so you can keep an eye on them. Now, a week is, let's say you're starting to sleep train and it's been like a week, right? So what do you do from there? And then they get sick the second week. You just continue on with what you're doing from that sleep plan, and you pause at that point. So for an example, let's say you're doing schedules, right? And you've gotten through one part of your association. So for an example, your association is feeding to sleep, that they need to be on the breast all the time in order to go to sleep, or they need to be rocked. So you would put into stages which association you're going to eliminate first. And then you start to work with that and your schedule. So let's say, you're like in your second week, first week kind of passed, everything is good. And then what I mean by pause is that you continue with what you're doing. Hey Deb, thanks for joining. Is you continue on with what you're doing, but you don't advance into it. You halt at whatever approach you are using. So when I work with families, what I do is I put everything into stages. And I like to do that because kids, they transition. So there's a flow to it. And you start to notice with your transition, with your stages, when you're going from one approach to the next, how they're reacting to it. Hey Audrey, thank you guys for joining. What I was mentioning before is, if you or anyone that has experienced starting to sleep train and then their little one got sick, or they started teething, anything like that, make sure to share this video right now, please, so we can get more parents on and get questions asked and stuff like that. Hey Lana, thanks for joining. So what I was saying is that when you halt, so you already started, let's say like a week into it, and you do your stages, and then you pause for whatever method you're using and the schedule. You would want to try and stick to the schedule to continue on with that, but you wouldn't force it, because kids, when they get sick, they can be sleeping much more. So you really want to give them more sleep than less, obviously. So what you would do is you would really follow the cues. Again, understanding the difference between their tired versus overtired cues. Now, when they're healthy again, usually kids, sometimes it takes like a week to 2 weeks to get back on track, and you get the green light from your pediatrician, and then you can continue on with your approach, meaning like your method, whatever that you have chosen to use, and to start continuing on with the schedule. Now, the other question is that I usually get is, okay, Carolina, is that going to completely destroy everything that I worked hard on the first week? No, it's not. What's going to happen is you might get a couple of days pushed back, but that's normal. It's the same thing as if you're sleep training and then all of a sudden your little one goes to grandma and grandpa's house, or you go on vacation, or you're out and about and it's not the same routine. So if that happens when you're starting to sleep train, not when you've already achieved your goals and then you go out, but let's say you're just starting it, then it's going to take you a couple of days to get back on schedule. So if you have if you got thrown off, it's going to probably take you close to a week to get back on. That's usually like maximum, anywhere between 3 to 5 days usually, just to get back on track on that part. So that is really what I wanted to chat today about, how to get your little one back on track if they do get sick, or if they do start teething while you are in the process. Of course, their health is number one, so making sure that they are nice and healthy when you continue on sleep training is number one, no matter how long it takes. If it takes a week, if it takes 2, if it takes even 3. So once you start to continue on again with your method and with your approach, you want to make sure that you get the okay from your pediatrician before you continue that. Especially if you were doing a very direct method, such as cry it out or intervals, like timed intervals, you really, really need to make sure that your child is perfectly A-okay, 100% on their health radar, that everything is good to go, and you're really creating the perfect environment for them to go to sleep again if you're going to be using that direct approach. Of course, remembering that when you do choose methods, it has to complement your child's behavior first, and then also complement your parental philosophy. But the children's behavior is really the first thing, because sometimes what we feel as an approach that we might use and what your child is showing you might bump heads. So you really need to watch and listen to what your child is telling you when you're choosing a method. Cool. So any questions that we got tonight, let me know in the comments below. And I know that we had one viewer before that emailed me about a topic that she wants me to talk about, and that is on children that are on the spectrum, autistic or within that realm. So I will be doing a video on that too, probably like in 2 weeks. If there are any other questions that you guys have, feel free to message me at itsme@achievewithcarolina.com, or private message me, whichever one that you feel most comfortable with, or you could just write it here in the thread below. So are there any other questions that we have tonight? We had a really cool welcoming since it's been some time since I've been on. Hey Sasha, thanks for joining. So any questions, guys? I know that sometimes we're a little delayed. Okay, guess not. So if you do come up with a question, feel free to comment below right after, and I will see you guys on Wednesday. Okay, love you. Sweet dreams, everyone. Bye.